What's up, guys? I'm Selena, if you don't already know me. So yes, it is a different day. That is my brother in the background. And, oh, we're gonna have to blur that one out. But, I just want to come on here and say that this pretty much took me one day. Last night, I filmed and edited a bit, and then this morning, I finished editing it. So, I just really wanted to come on here and quickly say that. I hope you guys enjoy the video. This is going to be a bit of a different video than I would normally, go into. But I'm the type of person to be into, like true crime, horror, not really like fantasy horror, but more like true crime horror. So today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite serial killers. Not that I like the guy. The guy sucks. But I think he was the smartest, stupidest person to exist. You'll see why. Okay, ignore the bit of a lighting change. I have to be able to see my document that I wrote. So, Robert William Pickton, aka the pig farm killer, the butcher, whatever name you wanna call him by, was born October 24th, 1949 in Port Coquitlam, British Columbia, Canada. He was the middle child of three, born to Leonard Francis Pickton and Louise Helene Arnold. He was raised on a pig farm with over 200 pigs. The family allowed their pigs to roam freely, not only all over the farm, but inside their house. Like, through their kitchen, into their bathroom, into their living room, everywhere the pigs could go, they would go. That meant the whole house was covered in urine and feces, and everything stunk. This left the family reeking. They were not the cleanliness of human beings. Hygiene wasn't really, a thing in the household, but Robert Pickton, he often went to school unwashed, reeking of filth. He was bullied because of it. People often called him Stinky Piggy, which led to his, social withdrawal. He wasn't a very social kid. What Robert would do is he would, after being bullied, he would go home and hide inside a carcass of a giant hog. That is disgusting. Like, literally disgusting. Imagine seeing, like, a little boy go hide inside of a dead animal because they're being bullied. That is nasty. What is going on? Anyways, on the farm, his mom was, often in charge. His dad wasn't in the picture too much. He was more of an abusive father, so he would regularly punish them if they weren't listening. Okay, so I may cut in here every once in a while because I was very tired last night, so I kept missing a bunch of details. Like, they were mainly, like, visual details where I explain it better so you can get a better idea of what, like, the characters in the story look like. But one thing I would like to mention about Robert's father is everyone said that Robert received his looks from his father. I can't find any pictures of his mother or father, but he was known to have a rat face, which Robert received, and then Dave and Robert's sister both received their looks, or were known to have received their looks from their mother. So, yeah. But we're going to first talk about his mother. Louise was a strange woman. She was known for her rotting teeth, so her teeth were falling out of her face. She had thin hair and was, kind of balding, and she would often wear a house dress over loose jeans and big rain boots. Well, Robert had kind of an obsession with his mother, you know, like most serial killers do. But, he would always look for her approval, do everything she said because he was a mommy's boy, even though probably not one of the greatest mothers out there. Forcing them to work on the farm. They would have to slaughter the pig, shovel waste, and tend to the hundreds and hundreds of animals on this property. Okay. Literally, like, way too many animals. But this was their livelihood. They become, like, later on, they become rich. Like, these people are rich. They're filthy rich. Literally filthy. When Robert was 12 years old, he had a bit of an experience that, I wouldn't say fully shaped him into the man he turned out to be. Man. He was not a man. He was evil. But Robert, 12-year-old little boy, he had saved $35 of his own money, and he went to a livestock auction, and he saw this little calf, like a cute baby cow, and he spent his $35 to buy that calf. It became his pet. He took care of it. He loved it for a few weeks. But one day, little Robert comes home from school. He's like, I don't see my cow anywhere. He looks all over the farm. He doesn't see his cow. So he goes inside. He's like, hey, Mom, Dad, I don't see my cow anywhere. And so his dad's like, have you checked the barn? Little Robert goes out to the barn. He's like, oh, yay, I get to see my cow. Opens the doors to the barn, looks up. Guess what he sees? His poor, beloved pet, hanging from the ceiling, upside down, his throat slit, bleeding into a bucket. Now, the calf was hung up by what's called a gambrel hook. It's like what butchers use. Robert saw this and was definitely traumatized. And guess what? In the background, all you hear is a ha 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 from his father, because he thought it was a joke. That definitely was a big role in a child's life. Number one is he's growing up filthy, abusive father, a weird obsession with his mother, and saw things he shouldn't have seen as a child. Well, fast forward. When Robert was 14, the family moved to a new farm in Coquitlam, British Columbia, Canada. So this was like 30 minutes away from their original farm, so it wasn't too far. But once they moved, his older sister, Linda, decided to leave because Linda had more of a social life than her brothers did. So Robert, and then they had a younger brother named Dave. But she was a bit more social, so she had friends, she had boyfriends, she would actually shower. But she took this, she was like, okay, look, my family's moving, I'm getting out of here. So she moved to Vancouver, just leaving her disgusting family behind and living with relatives and friends. But the year after, Robert, age 15, was actually expelled from high school for bringing an explicit magazine to class. Not exactly something that you think someone would get expelled for, but you see, it's Canada. They're all nice, so if you're not nice, I guess you get expelled for bringing an inappropriate book to school. It's okay. But also, why? I said, the smartest, dumbest person. See, he got kicked out of high school. That was the end. He didn't go back. He didn't do college. That was the end. So, not saying people that drop out are stupid, but this guy deserves to be called stupid. Anyways, I don't know exactly how old Robert was, but his younger brother Dave was 16, and Dave has his own car. He's driving down the road. All of a sudden, boom! He hits something. He hits a 14-year-old boy named Tim Barrett with his car. He gets out of his car, looks down, sees this kid, and he's like, oh dang, this kid, I just hit a kid. I'm not gonna call the cops. I'm gonna go home and tell my mom and dad. He goes home, tells his parents. Guess what? They don't call the cops. The dad literally cleans the blood off the car, cleans everything up, makes sure there's no evidence. The mom goes back to where the boy's body is and rolls it into an embankment that's flooded with water, okay? So this kid is like unconscious, right? His cause of death was not the car wreck. Like when they found his body, it was not the car wreck. It was literally drowning. So his mother killed this little boy. This shows you the childhood that Robert was brought up with. Okay? So it was just a lot. Fast forwarding into Robert's adulthood, okay? It's pretty much the same thing, just the farm over and over. Oh yeah, by the way, this farm had over like 700 pigs. So Robert and his brother were like literally feeding the pigs morning, lunch, and night. Like when they were in school, they would get out of school at lunchtime, go home, feed the pigs, and go back to school. So they were, again, the nastiest people ever. They would rank because they would never shower. Robert actually had an irrational fear of water, if that says anything. Anyways, fast forwarding into Robert's adulthood. In the 1970s, him and his brother Dave took over like the operations at the farm because they've lived there their whole lives. Why just leave? Robert started a career as a butcher. While Dave pursued demolition and construction. Despite being, a not very social guy, Robert actually developed the hobby of writing to pen pals. Very interesting. But one of these pen pals was named Connie Anderson, and when Robert was 24, he actually took a road trip to go meet her, and when he went there, they actually got engaged, but it didn't last long because Connie had a job, and so she couldn't leave that, and then Robert had to eventually go back to the farm, so they split their separate ways. Let me tell you, Connie, good. If you can see me now, good job for getting out of that. Good job. Anyways, fast forward a few years later, 1978 and 1979, in 1978, Robert's father died at the age of 91, and then his mother died the next year, in 1979, at the age of 67. So big age gap between the parents, big, very big age gap. Yeah. So, Once they died, they had a will to where each of the kids would get like $90,000. But the weird thing is that Dave and Linda would actually like receive their $90,000 immediately on the spot. And so, it was really weird because Robert wouldn't get his until he turned 40, but he would receive a $20,000 upfront because, you know, he was Mom's favorite. So in return, she gave him $20,000 upfront, but he gets $90,000 when he turns 40. The reason why was probably because she still wanted him working on the farm even when she was dead. But with their like overabundance of money, Robert and Dave actually started a junkyard on the farm. So they would like buy old used cars and like scrap metal, and they would store it on the farm and like sell it, stuff like that. But at the same time, Robert started his, you know, meat business. So he actually started butchering more animals quickly, selling them off to the community, stuff like that. So what he would do is he would, number one, he would go to like auctions and he would buy animals, and then you know, he would butcher them and then he would sell them to to people. But the thing is he would buy animals that were like already diseased and pretty much dying, like sick animals. So it was cheaper. That's nasty. Like, even if they, like, buying regular animals and butchering them and selling them, like, that's just a job. But getting sick animals just so it's cheaper to sell them, that's disgusting. Because then you could be, like, getting these people sick. But, you know, they also started another business on the farm. They winded up calling it Piggy's Palace Good Time Society. And so at this establishment, there would be, you know, it was very notorious for like parties, prostitution, drug use, and a biker gang called the Hells Angels frequently came there. So, like, if you've heard anything about them, just full of crime, murder, guns, stuff like that, illegal activities. This was all happening on the farm. So as you can tell, already Robert is being dwelled into crime. He's already into crime. So, the thing is, though, is because of the Hells Angels going there, Robert and Dave had, like, protection from them pretty much. And so, if anything happened, they were there. And so, it was, like, a weird little thing. But, the farm, you know, big hotspot for, you know, stolen vehicles, drug trafficking, and gun smuggling. But, you know, underneath, nothing could prepare anyone to what was going to happen next. So, we're going to go into, after already talking about Robert's childhood and him leading into adulthood, now this is going to be kind of brutal stuff. What we talked about before was a bit sickening with Robert seeing the animal or his brother hitting a kid with the car. But this is sick. So, what Robert would do to butcher the animals is he would first buy them, he would either slit their throat or shoot them in the head with a nail gun. Once they were dead, he would stab a hole through their ankles and hang them up on like the butcher's hook and bleed them out into a bucket. And then after that, he would dismember them and sell the meat, and then whatever leftover that couldn't be used for selling, he would send it off to like processors so they could make it into like a paste or something to be used in makeup products. With that in mind, on March 23rd, 1997, Robert picked up a lady of the night named Wendy Lynn Istetter and brought her back to his trailer. You know, she's a lady of the night, so they do whatever. She was a bit sketchy of him at first, but she was like, okay, whatever, I'll just get this over with, get my money, and I'll leave. Well, without warning, Robert handcuffed her, stabbed her repeatedly, and like she was in critical condition. Like she was bleeding. She was basically bleeding out, and she fought back. She literally was. I'm pretty sure she was like on the brink of death, but she just fought back. Like she did not want to die, and so she was just fighting and fighting, and finally she managed to grab a hold of Robert's knife and stab him in return. And so she ran as fast as she can, like ran straight into the road, and she was like, help, help. And so they finally get her, and then they bring her to the hospital, call 911, and Robert also sought medical attention, but he claimed that he was the one that was attacked. And so Wendy went to the police, and she was like, hey, look, this guy attacked me. He tried to kill me, right? But guess what? The charges were dropped just because Wendy had a past with drug abuse. Literally just because of that. So this killer who tried to kill her got off the hook just because she had a rough past, right? So this allowed this guy to go killing for years, right? So the killing started in 1983, and that story happened in 1997. So there was definitely some people before Wendy that were murdered. But between 1983 and 2002, Robert's main victims were ladies of the night from Vancouver's downtown east side. And so what he would do is he would lure them to his farm where, remember where I told you how he would cure animals? How he would, slit their throat, shoot them in the head with a nail gun, hang them up by their ankles, bleed them out? Well, every single one of his victims, every single one of these ladies, he did the same. And they were all dismembered the same way, and they were all disposed of the same way. Mostly of the same way. So, are you ready? This is where it gets gross. So, he would butcher these women, right? Completely dismember them. Any super recognizable part he would feed to the pigs, and then anything else that wasn't recognizable as a human, he would send off with the pig meat. He would send off anything else to with the other parts of the pig to get processed into makeup products, and then anything else he would bury in 40 feet holes on the property. So these people were being sold human remains, and these human's remains were being processed into makeup, and it's just so disgusting. It's just so disgusting. So in 2001, the police finally started investigating the disappearances of these women, because because they were ladies of the night, because they were prostitutes, they weren't cared about. So the police did not care. They're like, oh, these women go missing all the time, you know. They don't have any family, they don't have any loved ones. So they didn't care. But they finally started to investigate these murders of these women. Suspicion fell on Pickton, but not because of the murders, but because one of his friends had reported in February 2002 that he was in possession of illegal firearms. So authorities raided the farm and looking for firearms, but what they found was personal belongings of women, human remains, and all of this evidence that Robert tried to put away, but he didn't. He didn't get away with it. So he's finally arrested. But he was being tried only for 6 murders, okay? Only for 6 murders. Only. But he was charged for murdering 26 women. One thing I would like to add that I didn't say in any of these clips was that they sifted through the farm for 22 months. So from February 2002 to December 2003, they sifted through the farm for all the missing persons' DNA, and they only found 26, samples of DNA, and that's why he was only convicted for 26 murders, even though he confessed to 49. Though later, he was literally in, the room with an officer, and he confessed to killing 49 women. Okay? 49 women. He killed 49 women. That is not okay. That is sickening. This man is disgusting. He got what he deserved, but this man was disgusting. What's even worse is he was trying to joke around with this cop, and he was like, oh, haha, oh yeah, it was so sad because I could only kill 49 and I wasn't able to make it to 50. Plan was to reach 50. Don't know if he would finish. He probably would have kept going. But he 49 women, and he was upset that he got caught too soon because he wanted to kill 50. His trial in 2007 led to 6 convictions for second-degree murder, and he was sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole for 25 years. They didn't even bother convicting him for all of these crimes that he's already confessed to. But it was already the maximum he could have gotten. But Robert sat behind bars for years and years, a lot of years. He didn't get to live out his sentence though, because on May 19th, 2023, he was attacked by another inmate in the Port Cartier Institution of Quebec. I can't pronounce that word, I'm sorry guys. But he was in Quebec, and but another inmate attacked him, and after nearly 2 weeks of fighting to stay alive, he finally passed away on May 31st, 2023, at the age of 73. So, this story is, if you go more deeper into it, it's such a gut-wrenching story. Just unimaginable that one man could kill almost 50 women. And it shows that, from a young age, that people can be formed into horrible human beings from their childhood, with cruelty and isolation, and just that it could grow a serial killer. And Robert was one of Canada's most notorious serial killers, but it just shows, this farm, this little farm in Canada that was once a family's livelihood, still not a good family, but was once a family livelihood, became 2 decades later the crime scene for the death of 49 women. And it just shows, so many families, so many scars, and it just really sucks that all of these women have to go through this just because of one man. It just really does. But that just shows that anything can shape a man into killing. It can shape a woman into killing. It just shows that you really gotta be careful. Just be careful out there. Well, I thank you guys for watching this video, and I'm really sorry if I'm speaking slow. I had my mom listen to a few of the clips, and she said I talked too slow for her brain. So I'm really sorry about that, but I thank you guys for watching this video, and if I missed anything, watch Call Me Chris's video on it. It's really good. Definitely, it's 20 minutes longer than this video, but it's worth it. Trust me, it's worth it. But I thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys have an amazing day. See ya!